Hello everyone, today we're going to start a new topic, the basic theories of Chinese medicine. So from the previous few weeks studies, we have discussed the history of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. So from the previous few weeks, you will have a general picture of Chinese medicine in terms of where Chinese medicine, where acupuncture came from, and how will they develop until today, and also the current situation of Chinese medicine in China and in overseas globally. So since you have a full picture of Chinese medicine of what we are going to study, from today we're going to discuss the theories. In order to practice acupuncture, in order to practice Chinese medicine and acupuncture, you need to understand the theories behind the practice. So that's what we are going to study now. I trust most of us, actually all of us, have the experience of seeing a doctor. So when you were sick some time ago, when you were seeing a doctor, you book appointments, and then you went to the doctor's consultation room, and then you have a conversation with the doctor. The doctor might perform the physical examination on you, and then after the conversation, after the physical examination, the doctor will give you a diagnosis, and also then he will prescribe a prescription, and then you went to the pharmacy to fetch the tablets. So that's the general process of seeing a doctor, same as Chinese medicine doctor, same as seeing the Chinese medicine doctor. But from this process, in this process from the beginning, the first step when you step in the consultation room until you finish the consultation with the doctor, in this whole process what have involved. Yeah, the first is you will have a discussion with the doctor. What was wrong with you? What's your problem? What were you suffering? Or what's the most uncomfortable condition? So these are the discussion on your complaints. And once the doctor have the information of your situation in his mind, he will think about what's wrong, or what's the abnormal behind the symptoms, behind your complaints. That's why he performed the physical examination to gather more information, or to confirm his opinions on you. But this process actually involves a lot of knowledge, although we don't separate them. We don't separate the process into discussion, the way of thinking, or the prescription, because this whole process is a kind of habits as a doctor. After the training, after you study the medicine now, or after you study acupuncture now, when you go to the clinical practice, you will form this kinds of habits. All this happens at the same time. but actually they include a lot of information, and it requires a lot of knowledge, and all these knowledges are the knowledge we're going to introduce here in these 4 years of your study. So this will include the history of Chinese medicine, which we have discussed before. We include the basic theories of Chinese medicine, which we are going to discuss now. The Chinese medicine diagnostics. So from the consultation, the doctor will ask the patient certain questions related to the complaints. The doctors also can get some information from the symptoms or from the signs of the patient. What do the symptoms and the signs stand for? Indicates what problem. So these are the theories from the diagnostics. We're also going to have studied a little bit of the general introduction of Chinese Materia Medica, the general introduction of Chinese medicinal formulas. These are the treatments from the herbal medicine we perform with Chinese medicine. We're also going to focus on the acupuncture and massage. So after the 4 years study, you're going to register as an acupuncturist. So these are the main focus, the main treatment forms you are going to use with acupuncture and massage. You're going to learn all the points of the body, the massage method, the needling techniques. Also, we're going to introduce some internal medicine and therapeutic of acupuncture and massage. So these are all the information we're going to introduce in these 4 years. After studying these disciplines, if you go to the simulation clinic, which is from our acupuncture center, and then you'll be going to see the patient independently as an intern. So how to study the basic theories of Chinese medicine? Actually, not only the basic theories of Chinese medicine, actually all disciplines of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. There's only 3 aspects you need to focus on. The first is understanding. You need to understand what we are discussing, what we are talking in the class. You need to understand the words we use, the terms we use in acupuncture. The reason why is because Chinese medicine and acupuncture, as we discussed before, it is a very old medicine. The information we are going to study, the theories, the diagnostic method, the materials medica, the formulas, all the information we're going to study here, all the information we're going to describe here is very old, at least 2,500 years ago. So, especially from the basic theories, the information we're going to discuss now, most of them is from Huangdi Neijing, which was about 2,500 years ago. So this old information, they have an old saying. Sometimes they got different titles, they got different names, they got different terms of the old saying. So the first you need to understand what's the meaning of these words. For instance, in our theories, we always talk about qi. We always talk about the yin and yang. We always use the term of 5 elements to describe the relationship in different organs. What does it mean by qi? What does it mean by yin and yang? All the 5 elements. These are the term in philosophy. The old philosophy we use. The first thing you're going to study is you need to understand what's the meaning of these terms. After understanding well of the meaning of them, which we're going to introduce one by one in future. After understanding the terms, the names of the theories of the information in acupuncture, you need to memorize. You need to memorize all the information. As a doctor, when you see a patient, you cannot have your reference on your side. You need to memorize everything in your brain before you can practice. That's why it is so important to memorize all the information, and only after memorizing, you will have the ability to perform well or to perform more flexible in your practice. The last is to practice. After understanding, after studying all these theories, after studying all these diagnostic methods, and then you remember them, the last you need to apply them into your practice. You need to apply them in the clinical practice. These will acquire clinical experience. The more, the better. No excellence can be acquired without constant practice. So no matter in which year you were in, you need to practice. From the theories, you need to practice the way of thinking. Sometimes students ask me, "Hey, Dr. Hu, wait." From the theories, sometimes they says, "I do understand that acupuncture, especially for the practical parts, to find the points, the needling technique is practical. That's something we can practice. But from the theories, what can we practice? It's not practical. Theories is theoretics. Everything is in words describing something. How can we practice? So it's a bit tricky here. When we study the basic theories for practicing, you need to try to practice yourself the way of thinking. When we introduce qi, when we introduce the yin and yang, or when we introduce the 5 elements or organs, the theories, you need to think about the relationship between each other. You need to think about the condition, the situation you were experiencing, or the phenomenon you have seen before, and what's the knowledge behind the phenomenon. You need to practice to use these theories to explain the nature phenomena. You see, we have discussed before that we says why Chinese medicine we says it's a natural medicine. The reason is not only because of we use herbs, we use acupuncture, we use needles, we don't use chemicals, we don't use tablets. It's not only because of that, and as I told you that when we study the materials medical, when we study the herbal medicine, also we can tell you now that sometimes we also use chemicals. If we see from our materials medical, some of the materials medical is made from chemicals. And actually from the history, you can see that pharmaceutical chemistry is origin from Chinese medicine. So it's not the reason why we call it natural medicine. It's not only because it might be part of the reason, but not only because of we use herbs. The reason why we said Chinese medicine and acupuncture is a natural medicine is because of the law we use, the theories we apply to our human being, the theories, the laws we use to explain our health, how to maintain our health, how to recover from the illness. The laws we use is from nature. We learned from nature. We apply the laws in the nature on human being. We did not create any laws. So sometimes people will ask, what's the laws you talk about? What's the laws? What's the theories you talk about from the nature? There's an example that's sometimes we see patients ask me, now everyone want to live healthy, and which is good fun to maintain health. So they search on Google, they search on internet. There's a lot of recommendations on internet. There's one recommendation that is green vegetables or vegetable smoothies. Is it healthy? Most of the answers yes, because they are vegetables, vegetarian, and from the vegetable, especially from raw vegetable, you got a lot of which can benefit your health. So everyone believes that vegetable smoothie is healthy for everyone. That's why they recommend for everyone to take them. But from our view, from the view of Chinese medicine and acupuncture, is it healthy and why? In this condition, in this situation, especially when the patient asks me or the students ask me, I will show them one examples from the nature. Sometimes I ask them, the sun in the sky, is it good or not? The answer is quite tricky. You see, now we actually, because of the situation, we use the online lecturing, so we will be lack of the interactions. In the class, I'm going to ask you the questions. So when I ask the questions, you can, although it's a video now, you can think about to give you a few seconds to think about, is it the sun good or not? the sun and the moon, is the sun good or not? It's a very simple question, but the answer is quite tricky because it depends on what. So in my consultation room, there's indoor plants I put on my consultation desk. In the afternoon, I always use the curtain to cover some of the sunshine. So I asked the patient, do you think the sun is good? And they say the answer is yes, because everything, all plants need a sun to grow well. They need a sun. Then I will ask them why I put a curtain there to cover the sunshine for these plants. And then they realize that it is an indoor plant. That's why I don't like the sunshine. And so they said, oh, okay, the sun is not that good for this plant, for this plant. And then I ask if there's no sun, you think the plants will grow well, especially for the outdoor plants? The answer also no. You see, for this question, for this simple question, is the sun good or not? The answer is quite tricky. No matter you say yes or no, you got 50%. Because if it depends on what? It depends on the property of the plants. If it is an indoor plant, the sun, they don't like the sunshine a lot. If it is an outdoor plant, the sunshine is good for them to grow well. So you see from here, from this phenomenon, from the nature, it doesn't matter about the sun. What matters is the property of the plants. So when we go back to our health, the green vegetable, the vegetable smoothie, is it good or not? It depends. It depends on the people, the person who take it. Depends on their property. Green vegetable first is raw, especially for a smoothie. Sometimes they put ice, it's cold. So something raw and cold is suitable for someone have the hot condition. So if they have red tongue, or they always have sore throats, or they always have constipation, so this kind of person is suitable for them and it is good for their health. But on the contrary, if someone got cold hands and cold feet, and they always have loose stool or even diarrhea, undigested food in the stool, they always have poor appetite, they feel fatigue. This kind of person is a cold condition person, cold body constitute person. The vegetable smoothie is not good for them. So for one phenomenon, no matter from the nature or from our health, or even from the modern knowledge or modern science knowledge, is it correct? You need to think about it. And how to think about, or how to determine, how to decide the right or wrong is the way of thinking from the theories. Sometimes people will be confused. That's how do I know the theories is correct or wrong? A lot of articles they do the research, the result was proven to be correct. But why you said it's not correct? Then you can see if the result can apply to nature or not. So this is the way to think about so this is the way to practice your way of thinking. To use the way of thinking from the nature, from the environment, and your health. The other example from here is, especially overseas, also in South Africa, I realized a lot of people like drinking ice cold water, ice cold juice, everything ice cold or raw or salad. So is drinking ice cold water healthy? Sometimes very simple. If you have this ways of thinking to apply the phenomenon on human and the nature, you will know the answer immediately. For instance, for this question, is ice cold water good for our health? Sometimes the patient will ask the similar question. Now I will ask them, do you water the plants with ice cold water every day? Most of them will say no, because the plants will never grow or will never grow well if you water them with ice cold water. So then the question is, if the plants won't grow well with ice cold water, how come you will think that you will be healthy if you're drinking ice cold water all the time? So where we get this from is the habits of the theories, from the habits of applying the theories from the nature on human being. That's why we say Chinese medicine is a natural medicine. This is because we apply the laws from nature. We learn from the nature. Then we see how the plants can grow well, how the animals, especially for the wild animal, how can they grow well? That's how our human being can be healthy. Because in terms of life, we human beings, the plants, the animals, we are the same. Because we live on this planet, we're going to be affected by the environment, same as the plants, same as the animals. Although we have our thoughts. You see, sometimes some of my friends will ask me, how do I convince you? How, especially when I'm teaching over Chinese medicine and acupuncture overseas in South Africa. My friends sometimes we ask me, how do I convince you guys to trust me? How do I convince the foreigners, especially like you guys, you don't have that kind of background, you don't have that kind of culture, Asian culture or Chinese culture. How do I convince you to believe something from East, something from ancient? So that's a very good question. How do I convince you? Most of the time I will tell them that I do not need to convince you to study or to believe me the theories we discuss. The reason why is all what I tell you is the law from the nature. You can see you practicing every day. Actually, you just don't realize. For instance, in summer, sometimes the irrigation in your garden, you will water them every day. But in winter, you don't water them. You don't water them that much. That's the phenomenon. Or that's the law you actually applying every day. You just don't realize why. If you apply this law in your health, you're going to be healthy. That's why all we'll be discussing, all the theories in acupuncture, in Chinese medicine, all we'll be discussing, all we'll be studying here is to figure out the knowledge behind the phenomena. For instance, in summer you water the grass every day, and in winter you don't water every day. Why? All phenomena, when you ask why, there's some knowledge, some philosophy behind there. That's the stuff we're going to study in our theories. That's the stuff we're going to discuss here. That's why you don't need to be convinced. You will understand that everything is from nature. We did not create one single law in Chinese medicine. All everything we discussed here, you can see from the nature. And then we will apply in our diagnostic, we will apply these laws, these theories in our treatments or to maintain our health. So we're going to stop here. From the next period, we're going to start discussing the development, the formation and development of the basic theories. Some of the information we already mentioned in the history. If you want to know more about the details, you can go back to the videos of the history.